Ittetsu Takeda started out Haikyuu's story as a plot device to help the reader understand the rules of volleyball. Furudate introduced the volleyball team's new faculty advisor and head coach to be a vessel to help the unfamiliar get accustomed to the ins and outs of the sport. With no knowledge of the sport, Takeda took on the uphill task of bringing a former powerhouse school back to contention. So how does Furudate turn a vehicle for exposition into one of the greatest mentor figures in all of anime? He keeps Takeda background for the most part, allowing him to find ways of helping the team as he learns volleyball. Takeda applies his ability to learn as an example of how his players can grow. Later, Takeda will insert himself in more important moments, providing universal advice when his players need him most. Takeda develops in the same way his players do. He takes on a new challenge and follows the necessary steps to becoming a valuable coach. Takeda showing his players and the reader the importance of learning how to learn. Welcome to AniEssays. Here we overanalyze anime and manga, with each video on the channel created under the belief that anime, same as film and literature, is worthy of in-depth criticism. If you enjoy my videos, then consider supporting me through Patreon, and I'm happy to announce the next Patreon anime watch-along discussions will start on July 30th, as we'll be watching through Season 1 of Tower of God. Starting on the 30th, each day you'll watch 2 episodes of Tower of God, and then join in the AniEssays Discord thread discussing thoughts on those episodes. Since Season 2 of Tower of God is currently airing, I'll post weekly discussions about new episodes once we catch up. More information about other Patreon benefits at the end of the video. Learning how to learn is an important message of Haikyuu's story. By developing their skill at volleyball, the players discover universal principles that can be applied to every aspect of their lives. While not explicit, by following Takeda's journey as the team's coach and mentor, we can see this idea play out. We know Takeda is a teacher at Karasuno, and so we understand he has received higher education and applies the skills he gained to start helping the team right away. When tackling a new skill, where do you begin? For Takeda, it starts with finding someone more knowledgeable and looking to raise the level of practice for his team by making connections with other coaches. To find help with X's and O's, he turns to young coach Yukai, but at first he doesn't seem interested. At the time, Takeda secures a practice match with Aoba Johsai and their former rivals, Nekoma. Later, he uses leverage from the Nekoma match to help persuade Yukai to continue coaching. Takeda puts his players in a position to grow by pushing his ego aside and embracing the help of others. Takeda is in a position of power, yet here he is willing to seek help from anyone who will provide it, even in unorthodox ways, which allows him to organically learn the game. Takeda's story supports an often criticized element of the education system, students being forced to study subjects they have no interest in. While this issue is far more nuanced than Haikyuu really touches on, the ability to learn subjects that are outside of your expertise pays off by allowing you to tackle any situation you find yourself in, especially when you don't have aptitude for it. Takeda has never been a coach before, yet he is able to help Karasuno exponentially because he developed a strong foundation in how to approach new subjects. It is that foundation that he intends to pass on to his players, most notably through the relationship with Hinata. Hinata and Takeda have 3 key conversations throughout the series, and Takeda's advice is applicable to anyone and shows how sports can have a valuable effect on every inch of one's life, not just on the court. The first key piece of advice comes to both Hinata and Kageyama after they lose to Aoba Johsai. The third when Hinata sneaks into Washijo's training camp after not being invited, and the third at the end of Karasuno's match with Kamomedai. At the end of the first season, Karasuno lose a very close match against Aoba Johsai, the final play ending in the Freak Quick getting shut down by a triple block, anticipated by the more experienced Oikawa. Hinata and Kageyama found a tool that both of them could use to compete at a high level. Yet, it wasn't enough. Their frustration boils over after the game. Kageyama, the one who tries to control everything, talks about how he was read like a book. Hinata, a player who wants to show that he belongs on the court, pushes back, exclaiming that it wasn't a mistake to set him the ball. Here is the first key moment for Takeda to give advice. Takeda compliments them on how good of a match that was. Hinata disregards it because the team lost. Takeda asks them if they're weak because of losing. Obviously not. Losing doesn't make you weak. staying down does. Takeda's perspective helps ground Hinata at multiple points in the story, and here it reminds this young duo that today will not be the last chance to play, but it can serve as a stepping stone to getting better. They played well against a fantastic team, and that alone is worth merit. Over-relying on the freak quick was almost enough. They were only a couple points away from winning. Takeda knows that their quick attack is amazing and their talent even surpasses that. Now they have confirmation that they just have to evolve a bit if they want to stay on the court the longest. Sports' rigid results provide young athletes with clear indications of success. Despite no athletic history, Takeda can still recognize the importance of this moment for his players because sports reflect the larger world around us, just like school. Takeda needs Hinata and Kageyama to see all angles of why they lost, because this won't be the first time they are faced with adversity, and the trepidations of the future will likely be much more difficult to define than losing a volleyball game. In emotional moments like this, it can be near impossible to look at the situation with any kind of clarity. That is why having a mentor with an outside, calm perspective can be so crucial, to not allow a loss to turn into failure. For a loss only knocks you down. Failure is if you don't get back up. Takeda's next piece of advice comes after Hinata sneaks into the first-year Miyagi Prefecture training camp. Hinata wasn't invited to this camp because Washijo saw no value in the small player unless he plays with the very best of setters. Despite starting on a team that made it to nationals, Hinata has to face the uncomfortable reality that he lacks a strong volleyball foundation. And Hinata caused a fair bit of trouble by sneaking into the camp, mainly by sending a message to the other coaches in the area that Karasuno doesn't respect them and their players are undisciplined, which could result in a strained relationships with other coaches, something that Takeda has worked so hard to start building back up. Hinata is allowed to stay at the camp as long as he remains a ball boy. Before the second day practice kicks in, Takeda talks to his energetic first year. Here, Takeda tells Hinata a most critical piece of advice. He who would climb the ladder must begin at the bottom. If you continually skip steps in your development, at some point you will be able to go no further. Hinata jumped forward on speed and instinct alone. Sooner or later, he needed to rework the fundamentals into his skill set, or else he wouldn't be able to stay on the court long enough. We all have aptitudes for different things. Some subjects come easier than others. I think that is where the value of working through different subjects in school comes from. No matter who you are, you will run into difficulty. The way to overcome it, to transform the hard into the enjoyable, is by building a strong foundation that can support the weight of hardship. In the same way that Takeda was able to secure just a couple of practice matches for his team, it starts out by taking small steps to build a solid foundation that will allow you to excel. This idea roots a key change in Hinata's perspective, as he turns his focus to the fundamentals of volleyball, starting to understand how all of the small elements of the sport connect and lead to winning play. Hinata tried to skip a step too far by joining the training camp when the coaches did not deem him ready. It is a reality check for our outgoing and talented protagonist, that he will never stay on the court the longest if he fails to work through every aspect of what makes a player great. Takeda is critical for allowing Hinata to take a bigger view for why he wasn't invited to the camp, that he skipped steps on his way up the ladder. Takeda's greatest moment comes at the end of the Kamomedai match. It is Hinata's third and final hurdle to climb. Since the training camp, Hinata evolved into a player who understands the fundamentals of the game and helps Karasuno take a lead in the third set against one of the toughest opponents in the country. Then Hinata falls down with a fever, a result of not taking good enough care of his body. Takeda does the responsible thing and removes Hinata from the game. Hinata fires back at Takeda, saying he isn't injured and he can still play. Takeda sits him down, letting him know that he cannot allow a student with a fever to step back onto the court. He tells him that even though it doesn't seem like it, dealing with this fever is still volleyball. How you handle yourself off the court, how you train your body, how you deal with poor play, or even the attitude you take when dealing with an injury, all of it is volleyball. All of it contributes to the goal of staying on the court as long as possible. Takeda then tells Hinata to burn this feeling into his mind, for him to never forget the frustration, sadness, and disappointment of not getting to stay on the court in the biggest of matches. There are key moments in a person's development that propels them to higher levels of skill. Takeda recognizes that this moment could be that for Hinata. Frustration and difficulty are always stops on the path to becoming great. Takeda reinforces that within Hinata, and that mindset is what fuels him to pursue training in Brazil as he prepared his body to play indoor volleyball at a professional level. A lot of us try to separate parts of our lives as if they don't fuel each other. Getting enough rest, eating right, putting in effort at work or on the court, and defining a worldview. Every aspect helps strengthen the others. The tool that makes any mountain climbable is an understanding of how to tackle difficult situations. Throughout Haikyuu, Takeda knows the exact right thing to say when his players need him the most. Takeda starts out the story taking on the role of the reader, likely not fully invested in the actual sport of volleyball, but soon learning the rules and falling in love with it. Takeda shows that once you learn how to find success in one aspect of life, it becomes easier to learn any new skill. Maybe it is playing a sport or coaching one. Regardless, the more things you fully invest yourself in, the easier it is to learn something new. For Takeda, you can see that value shine through his education and career, as he serves as the backbone of Karasuno by supplying strong practice opponents and sharing applicable advice at all the right times. At the end of the Kamomedai match, Takeda tells his players that now they have the tools to accomplish anything they set their minds to. Takeda represents the value of adversity and the importance of controlled environments. School and sports give us a chance to fail without major consequences, systems that are designed to help us find the best version of ourselves and give us the tools to experiment with who we want to become. Takeda may have had little knowledge about volleyball, but his perspective on learning and life made him the perfect mentor for his players, helping all of them find their own paths to success. He is the backbone of Karasuno, the underrated mentor that shows how the process of getting good is a worthwhile pursuit. He stays in the background for most of Haikyuu, like all mentors should, letting his players find their own way, and helping steer them in the right direction in times of need. Takeda is the kind of mentor we all hope to have in our lives, and he stands tall as Haikyuu's greatest teacher. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the channel, then consider checking out my Patreon. Through Patreon, you get access to this channel's Discord server where we discuss all things anime, manga, and media based. In addition, I host my monthly anime watch-along discussions through Discord. Starting on July 30th, we'll be watching and discussing Tower of God. In addition to Discord, you will get your name at the end of every video and access to Patreon exclusive updates. The highest tier of Patreon also gets the opportunity to pick a short topic for me to make with every 3 months of subscription. Thank you again for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.